Hi there, this is Michelle Bedell. This is Ruth Rutherford. We recently took a trip to Managua, Nicaragua for a missions trip, and we're just going to go through some pictures here and tell you a little bit about our wonderful experience that we had there. We don't have a mic, so bear with us because we're using this phone here, so we're doing the best we can here. So hope that you'll watch along here and enjoy some of our moments. This is Ruth and I just at the hotel. It was a beautiful place there in Nicaragua. There were trees and mountains, and this is one of the typical downtown areas, one of the neighborhoods. This was another downtown area that we went through to go to one of the clinics. This here is one of the typical huts that the families would live in when we visited the rainforest. A family would have several members in it, and 4 or 5 families actually would live in some of these places. So there'd be up to 20 people living in one small area like this, and that was very common for that area. And there were animals walking about. Here's some pigs. There were chickens, turkeys. And this is actually at one of the churches that we held a clinic inside. This is another church that we went to at Messiah. This is the Capitol, like would be equivalent of the White House here in America. This is the old one that they had, and if you zoom in closer in the picture there, you can see actual gunfire that had hit this building during the war that they had there just a couple of decades ago. This is the new building that they built right next to that one to replace it, so that's their White House now. These are just some of the historical things that we visited downtown too. This is near a volcano that we visited while we were there. It's just beautiful there, beautiful country. This volcano last erupted in the spring of 2014, and so the stairs here were built that you could walk up to get a really good visual of the volcano down there, but since the eruption last year, that's no longer allowed. It's just beautiful, beautiful country there, and look at the cross up at the top. It was amazing. Some more pictures of the volcano, which is actually still smoking. And these are some pictures driving to the volcano. The scenery there is just absolutely gorgeous. Coconut tree. This was outside one of the school church buildings that we had a clinic. This was an interesting friend that we met in the middle of the road, driving in the bus to the rainforest. This was a sloth that was in the middle of the street. Many of us had never seen one of those before. When we got out of the bus, and actually one of the Nicaraguans that was there as a translator with us picked him up and just kindly carried him over, put him in a tree. He didn't mind at all, just went about his business. That was interesting. This is one of the doctors who's actually from South Bend here who went on our trip. These are some of the patients that we saw. They were beautiful, beautiful kids. This is Mateo, one of my friends I met at church. We took Beanie Babies for the kids that the clinic and Ruth's church had collected. Here's Ruth with a patient with some back pain. Some more beautiful kids, just wonderful, sweet, sweet people there. They're very grateful. They're very kind, loving, welcoming. It's just a great, great group of people that we met there. Beautiful baby. This is another one of the clinic. We would just go into these buildings and set up tables and had translators help us, and we treated over 1,000 patients while we were there that week. These are actually the providers. There's a couple of Nican doctors that were there that helped us. There's an ER doctor, family practice doctor, and then the rest of us were nurses that actually helped treat the patients as well. There's another one of the girls from the group that was a translator for us. More beautiful kids. My daughter actually made like about 100 bracelets to take to these children, so that's what some of those are that we passed out to the kids. That was at church. Ruth was loving on a baby there sitting next to her. In between clinic times, we would take the kids out and play, and they were very happy to play soccer or play ball. They didn't have any of those kind of things there. Loving on some babies here. Kids goof around there too, so these were a couple of boys that were goofing around. This is actually one of the translators we had there, Melissa, that I fell in love with. We did some face painting, made some crafts, sang some songs, painted nails. The kids were just so sweet. We tried to learn some Bible verses in English and in Spanish, colored together. Just got lots of kids that we got to love on. The little guy sitting in the window at the church building. This is one of my favorites. we did some face painting, and this girl was just so kind and so sweet. She became my shadow for a couple of the days that we were there. So one time I turned around, there she was. She's just a beautiful little girl. You want to talk about this family? This was a family that we met at one of the clinics who was a single dad. The mom was still alive. We don't really know all the details about that, but mom was not around, and this little baby was not eating or sleeping, and dad didn't have much help or resources or support at home, and so Ruth prayed with him and helped hook him up with some of the leaders at the local church there just to kind of get him plugged in for some support. So that was just a really special family. Where are these kids? They loved suckers. And we're kids. So most of the patients that we saw were the women and children. They a lot of times had issues with their stomachs, with the parasites. We treated all of them with medicines for the worms there. We treat everybody in their whole family, everybody in the house actually. So like I said, sometimes it'd be up to 20 people living in the house. So it was a lot of community. They're very connected there. They take care of each other. They take care of their kids. They're just very kind, sweet, loving people. We did see kids with ear infections and, some wheezing and allergies and that kind of thing. Skin rashes, mites. A lot of the kid issues were stomach issues. This is at another church, and there's the kids with all their beanie babies. This was our activity room one day at the school. This is another sweet family that we met at the church. So sweet. This is one of my favorite pictures from there. This kid was so cute. He just kept popping in the window. We were holding clinic just, I was about 3 feet from him. Every time I'd look over, he'd be looking through that window smiling. And they loved us taking pictures of them. They liked to see the pictures after we took them. This was outside one of the big churches that we had a clinic. The group that we went with actually brought part of their band, and so they'd sit out here with their instruments and sing. Had some very talented musicians and a wonderful singer here, Schroeder. She's sitting there to the left of the man playing the guitar. Just to sing worship songs, the people really enjoyed that. The kids would dance around. It was a great addition to the care that we were giving to the patients. The music was wonderful. These kids, I had to learn how to play checkers and tried to teach them how to play checkers, and I ended up getting deep there playing checkers. We played basketball, soccer.
The group that we were with is called Journeys Crossing. It's a church up in D.C., and that's the leaders of the group that we joined. I had joined them last year. There were 2 different worship teams going on. The Journeys Crossing group would do a song, and then the worship team from this Nicaraguan church would do a song. And so the service went on for about 2 hours, and it would go back and forth, but it was really, really, really great.
It's beautiful. The music there's just wonderful. Very spirit-filled. This was inside another one of the churches. You can see it's pretty basic. We sat in lawn chairs. We did the baptism while we were there. These girls danced to an American song, actually, an English song. Again, this is the band that was having worship. We had communion at every service. Here's the baptism. It was a young girl. I believe that was her brother that was praying with her after she was baptized. This is a lot of us providers outside there at the rainforest. The trees and the freaking beautiful. This is Eve. She's a nurse who actually is the main coordinator of the trip. There are a couple of the doctors there. This is our group when we went out to dinner there to celebrate the week when we were getting ready to come home. This is
Betty and Billy Loft. They're the ones that actually run this mission over there in Nicaragua, and they are also involved in church works in Panama and Honduras. And they're on their way up to the States now to then fly down to those other 2 countries to check on the churches there, Billy and Betty Loft.
So they started the big church that we were just at and the school there. So they have a huge outreach to the community there. Yeah. They've invested many, many years and a lot into the relationships they've built there.
He grew up in Brazil, so he is an MTA from Brazil, so he's well-versed in Portuguese as well as Spanish.
And this was just a little time that we made to take some pictures to thank everyone for supporting us on our trip. We had such a wonderful time. It was a great team that we were with. We were able to reach a lot of families, kids, minister to them, help them physically, pray with them, love them. It was just a really amazing time that we had together. So this was just a thank you that we wanted to say. Thanks for the foundation for helping with the trip. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully this will help encourage other people to do this. This was my first mission trip, and I cannot wait to go back and do another one.